everyone, and welcome once again to Arrow Discussions. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And today we're going to talk about episode 4, which is The Innocent Man. Eric, why don't you start us off?
I don't have a lot to say about this episode until the end of the episode. I thought it was an okay episode. I like that they're kind of going a little bit more political. I wish it had been more a statement on why it should have been an anti-death penalty episode. If they were going to do something like this, I think it would have been much more impactful if it had been an anti-death penalty episode. Regardless of my political views, I feel like that's what they should have done.
Oh, you mean because of the whole death row thing?
Yeah.
It's interesting because I didn't really give that a whole lot of thought. I felt like that was sort of more like the background of what was going on to get all the important character stuff going on.
Yeah,
so I wasn't even thinking about it as a political
is that the plot of the episode is kind of the B plot, which is weird.
Well, it's not that strange. I mean, like a lot of shows will do things sort of like this, and I appreciated it in that it gave us a reason to start finally really dealing with the fact that Oliver kills people and why that is. For my money, this was actually I got to tell you, man. For my money, and maybe I'm way off base, but this was my favorite episode so far. I really enjoyed this one.
I think I liked last episode more, but I don't know. You just saying the character stuff. Maybe I was paying attention to the wrong stuff, because thinking about it, I did like a lot of the character stuff that they did do.
The biggest thing
particularly
that this one
with
did
Diggle.
That the other, yeah, we'll talk about Diggle. The biggest thing that this one did that the other three haven't really done is it really wove in the little bits of the parts of the island, and we understood why we were seeing what we were seeing on the island when we saw it, because it was made very apparent the moment that Oliver became a killer. And I really appreciated that, because we were talking from the first episode, he kills people kind of indiscriminately. I mean, they're the bad guys, but he kills them and he doesn't talk about it. And now we've got an episode where we're finally dealing with the fact that he kills and why that is.
And multiple people are talking about it. It's not just like one person.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of people are talking about it, and it's clearly going in a direction where he's going to have to get to a point where he doesn't do that anymore. He's starting to feel less justified in it, the way that Diggle is talking. But what makes it more complicated, and I like that it's made more complicated, is that even though Diggle comes right out and says, "You're a murderer," and I, by the way, really like that once he figures out that he's Green Arrow, he just lunges at him. He's like, you're this horrible terrorist person.
Can I tell you my actual problem with that scene?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Is he reveals himself, and when he wakes up and looks at him, his hood's not up, and the way it's lit, it just kind of looks like he's wearing a black... Like, it looks like he's just in, like, motorcycle riding gear, which he wears later this episode. Like I don't know, like, when it shows him, I was kind of like, I don't feel like he would immediately know who he is.
They did a good job, though, of also showing some other shots of the... of his lair, like Diggle's looking around.
Arrow cave?
I think what tipped him off was that he saw arrows.
Oh, good point.
So he would clearly
in the
know
arrow
that's
cave?
what it was. And yeah, in his arrow cave, I love that he kind of has an arrow cave.
When do you think he's going to get his aeroplane?
I don't think he'll ever get an aeroplane.
I want him to get an aeroplane.
Do you also want him to have trick arrows and shoot like boxing glove arrows and things like that? Because I don't think that'll happen.
Well, the boxing glove arrow is bound to show up at some point, or at least a reference or joke will be made about it. But my favorite silly Green Arrow thing ever is the aeroplane, because the pun is just so awful.
Is it actually shaped like a giant arrow?
Yes.
That's awesome. But yeah, so I like that at the same time as Diggle has this kind of black and white morality where he's like, at the beginning, which he kind of gets over with his character arc, is well, you're this terrible vigilante killer guy. We've also got Laurel on the other side, who's kind of figuring out that the law doesn't always work, and so there's this kind of gray area where he's sort of justified, but he's not justified. The only thing I really, really didn't care for was that Laurel was I felt like it was kind of strange that she's this big-time lawyer, and it took her this long to figure out that the law doesn't always work. You know?
Especially when her dad's a cop.
It really blindsided her when she was like, oh, you mean it's possible for a person to go on death row who doesn't really deserve it? What? I thought the law worked 100% of the time. Yeah, that didn't work at all. I couldn't buy that she in her profession could possibly be that naive.
I'm liking her more and more as the show goes on. I will say that.
I am too. I just didn't like that they wrote that for her.
I'm liking the
silly.
sister less and less.
I thought that, and maybe this was just my viewing, and I wouldn't feel this way if I saw it again. I don't know, but did you find that that Detective Lance kind of had a different way of talking this episode? He seemed like he was jumping in and out of an accent.
No, I didn't pick up on that at all.
Okay, well maybe it was just me. I don't know. It kept distracting me every time he had dialogue. I was like, suddenly
well,
talking like a different
British,
character.
so that's entirely possible.
Well, I knew that he was, and so I don't know. I was kind of picking up on that, but anyway, that was the other really kind of strange thing for me. But man, I really liked that they took a whole episode to bring Diggle around.
Right. Yeah, no, I really liked that. I actually wish we'd gotten a little bit more with him with that.
What do you mean? Like, what else would you have done with it?
I don't know, because I felt like he said no, and then at the end of the episode he kind of came around and was like, "Oh well, all right."
No, he had good motivation because he learned that Deadshot killed their family member. Was it their sister or?
Yeah, you know what?
I forget. And then the
you
whole,
know what?
the whole
I forgot
point
about
was,
that.
The whole
His
point
brother,
was just
Andy?
this last. Yeah, his brother. That's what it was. Just this last episode, Green Arrow took out the guy who killed your sibling.
His brother Andy. Andy Diggle.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay. And I think
Yeah,
that
his brother's name is Andy.
See, I'm not even surprised by that sort of thing anymore. They do it so
I know.
much.
But it made sense because last episode he had Andy Diggle on his tattooed on him.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
And everyone just thought it was a comic book reference.
Yeah, but it turns out that it was actually a plot thing. Well, that's good that they're setting up that way. I also feel like the show is already becoming a whole lot more serialized. This didn't feel like a standalone episode at all.
No, it didn't.
Nothing like a one and done. But yeah, I think that the idea, Eric, was that coupled with the fact that Arrow just took out the guy that killed his brother, you also had this subplot with a guy on death row that almost got killed because of this corruption that only Arrow's been able to fight.
Right.
So no, I don't know. I thought that there was sufficient motivation.
I really liked his mom putting together that the list is being hit off with weird young John Travolta.
I really liked that too.
And I like the revelation that her husband is not in on it.
Yep, I like that too, and I was hoping that was the case.
Yeah, I really like that. Although, can I say that when he finds the boat, it didn't have as big an impact on me as I feel like it should have?
I was that too.
I rewound and rewatched it because I felt like I missed something. I'm like, okay, she has the boat, and I'm like, what am I supposed to take from this? Is it that she made the effort to go get the boat and didn't look for Ollie? Is it that she got the boat because she... Like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't sure why I was supposed to feel something other than... Like, it wasn't like in Smallville when you find out Lex has the ship and you're like, oh. Like, I felt like I didn't know why... I didn't know what I was supposed to feel from that or what I was supposed to take away from it.
I thought maybe it was just that she was responsible for crashing it, but then didn't we already know that?
Well, and how does her having the boat let him know that? Like, what realization did he come to with that?
That's a really good point, that she found the boat and didn't tell anybody, because that doesn't necessarily mean that she crashed it.
And
from his perspective.
And the shows looked really good, but when they show like the overhead shot, it's clearly a model.
Yeah, that's.
I was like, it's only a model.
I gotta say that I really was, and maybe I'm being a bit naive being this way with it being the fourth episode, I was pretty blown away by the ending, that he's already been caught. That was cool.
was
Like,
fantastic.
how's he gonna get out of it? And the thing that you gotta wonder, for this episode, it's great, but you gotta hope to heck that they go the right direction with it.
You know what I can say is that based on how this show has been so far, I do not feel like they're going to cheat their way out of it.
Well, they have to cheat in some way just so that he can keep being Arrow. Like, they can't all...
I feel like what will probably happen is that that'll be the episode where him and Detective Lance form some kind of alliance. Because I know Deathstroke's
sure.
in this next episode. Maybe he shows up, and it's kind of like a Joker thing, where like he's just doing so much damage. Detective Lance is like, okay, you're the only one that can do something. Like maybe that kind of a thing. But I don't feel like it's going to be a Smallville thing where next episode it's going to open with him being like, in front of the cameras, acting like half drunk, like, yeah, I don't know why they think I'm this Green Arrow guy.
Boy, I hope they don't go there. But the thing that really bothers me is that everybody is going to know, like every supporting character is going to know the reason he got arrested. And that means that
what's interesting is that the dad
series,
didn't seem to.
Well, yeah, but aren't they going to after he's been arrested for a minute? Like, I don't know. Like
Yeah. No, and you know what I loved is that it punctuated the theme of the episode when he goes through his the list of charges. The last one is and murder.
Yeah, that was great. What did you think of him going to Laurel the way he did? Because I thought that was all right. Going to her as Green Arrow and kind of taking his sister's advice with the whole, you have to go to her as your new self. So he takes that to its furthest iteration. I thought that was great.
I liked it, but I was waiting for him to say, because you're someone that will rattle the cages.
Oh, that's a good... were you waiting for him to hold a stapler behind her head and pretend like it was a gun?
Because she literally says, what is that? And he says, leverage.
Oh, you're right. That's awesome.
I was waiting for him to be like, to get things moving. Because you're someone that will rattle the cages. And then, even have the voice alterer.
He's got the voice, yeah, and I was like, at first when the voice alterer thing happened, I was waiting for this because of Smallville, but they had to.
I like that he doesn't use it all the time. He just used it when he's going to someone that knows who he is.
But I'm glad that he at least goes that far, because it is pretty silly that he would go up to people that, if he went to people that didn't know.
I think that this show is much smarter than I thought it was going to be.
That's what I said from the beginning, and I'm still there. But no, I was just, when you said rattle the cages, I was just envisioning him like running out and her chasing after him, and then he like jumps over to some roof, and then somebody walks up behind her and says, "Who is that?" And she just says, "Some nut."
He was in a ski mask this episode.
Yeah, he was. I liked that. I think it's kind of fun that he's added Master of Disguise to his list of qualifications.
Yeah, but he's bad at it because he did it in a hallway where there were cameras.
Yeah, he's not good at it at all. He just put on a police uniform but put a ski mask on.
Yeah, I really the more we talk about it, the more I'm liking this episode. Like like watching it, I was kind of like, this is kind of bland. But like now that we're talking about, I did like a lot of the stuff. I really like how quickly it's moving. Like, honestly, I'm a little worried that they thought they weren't going to get a whole season, so they were putting all this... They're
going to make too much happen, and then they're going to get to the end of the season, and they're going to be... Or maybe even episode 13 and be like, we don't really have any more material now.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about that they're going to kind of lose their way. But as far as it's gotten so far, I'm really digging the direction of the show. It's not the Green Arrow show that I would have made, but
I'm liking it more and more. This week, I felt like it finally had a little bit more pizzazz to it. It felt a lot less generic than last week with killing off Deadshot real fast and all that kind of stuff.
But it's I don't know. It's a lot. It's smarter than most TV shows, but I think it's still kind of bland.
It was less so this week for me. I don't know. I'm really liking Diggle quite a bit.
No, Diggle is great. Diggle is still the best character in the show after Dresden. But
after Dresden,
I'm
Dresden
sorry,
lands. Detective Dresden Lance.
Oh,
The Dresden Lance Files.
that name's almost as cool as Lance Fusion.
Yeah, Dresden Lance does sound like Lance Fusion. That's great. Well, anyway,
But
did you have anything else to add? We're about 15 minutes in.
I don't think so. I like this episode. I think I liked last episode more, but I think this is still a solid episode. And I really think 5 episodes in, they don't have a formula yet, and I'm really enjoying that.
I know, me too. And I think they were trying to fake us out by making us think that they were going to. That's great stuff.
Also, this was the first episode not written by the 3 guys that are making the show.
Oh, good point. Well, and the dialogue was a bit better.
Yep.
I also wanted to say that this far in, I'm starting to feel a bit like I do sometimes with some comic book series, where I feel like this show might end up watching better, like if you watch it all at once. Yeah, and yeah, this show will be better in trade. No, but I mean like binge watching it instead of watching it like week for week. Because like now that we're getting kind of into it, I'm like, I wonder if I sat down and watched these 4 episodes kind of together over a couple days, I might like it better, you know?
Yeah, I think I might have a better reaction to certain things where if it was like, he gets arrested, I'm like, well, I gotta watch the next episode, and I put the next episode on. I'm so trained to watching television like that at this point, that for me, like, I'm like, oh, well, I have to wait till next week. Like, it's just such a weird foreign notion to me at this point that I'm almost like I lose momentum watching it like this.
Which is funny because they're doing what they're supposed to do, which is give you a reason to come back next time. You can't stop watching the show after this episode.
They've done it.
Yeah, I mean, like even if you don't think this is the best episode the best show you've ever seen, and it definitely isn't. When I get to the end of this episode, I can't not watch next week.
It's got great cliffhangers.
You gotta know. And it's got, and you know, last week you said it was kind of like watching like an 80s cop show or something. It's got those kind of cliffhangers.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
So anyway, I don't know. I'm so much more jazzed about it now than I was even last week. I really enjoyed this one.
I'm really excited to see what they do with Deathstroke.
Well, I'm more excited about Huntress, but
I'm really excited to see how he keeps being Green Arrow. What if they totally pull like a switcheroony? And, like, he's just in jail for, like, the rest of the show.
That'd be so funny. Or if he's in jail for, like, 3 or 4 episodes straight.
Like,
and then they just come back and they're like, well, we're going to have to focus on, like, Laurel and Huntress for... Wouldn't that be a great name for a show, by the way? Laurel and Huntress?
Or... That's awesome. Or...
The Laurel and Huntress show.
Or they'll... Like he goes to prison, and then they're like, oh, actually, this whole show is just adapted from Supermax. We're just doing the David Goyer script from a couple of years ago.
But we're going to do it, like, the whole show that way.
Yeah, it's just him in prison with a bow.
And occasionally he gets out and they just throw him back in.
And hey, if it's based on that script, that means the Riddler's going to show up at some point, so...
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Arrow Discussions. We'll be back with you next week for another discussion, and hopefully they actually, go with this, and it's not a big fake-out thing. I'll be so disappointed.
So far, they have yet to do something like that, so I'm pretty sure they're going to run with it.
Yeah, me too. Well, thanks a lot for listening. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
We'll see you next time.